Stand by studio, 10 seconds to go. Checking talkback cameras. Studio 1 on the air. Take camera 1.
This is Scroop, sir. Have to get out here.
The sun was shining on the sand. The sun you've never seen. 2 petals of blossom floated onto my palm. I was back in that orchard in Brittany many, many years ago. But it's all there still. The sunshine, the orchard, the blossoms, and the 2 floating petals. What did you say, Porter?
You have to get out here, sir. Train goes no further. I'll take you back.
You better take me, too. I'm very shaky. An old man. There's some more luggage in the van. Very important.
There's no van on this train, sir. It must be on the other part, main line from Crangley Junction. Easy does it, sir.
What's up? What's all this about, Ted?
Gentleman's not where he meant to be, I fancy.
Oh, well, let's get into the seat then.
Yes. Must sit down.
Says he's got more luggage on the train. It must have gone on to Burpool.
Is that where you were going, sir? Burpool?
No. Horrible place. What's this? Where are we?
Scroop, this is. Let's have a look at your ticket, please, sir.
Can't remember. You must have had a ticket. I was taking those 2 cases somewhere. Very important. Very important.
What was in them, sir?
Pictures, drawings.
Worth something?
A few 100,000, I suppose.
Pounds, sir?
Yes.
Ted, nip across the railway arms and ask George Beeson or his wife if they've a bed for him. He'll get no further tonight. He's just about had it, if you ask me. Meantime, I'll go and phone Dr. Edge.
I'll talk to Mrs. Beeson. You know what George is. He said I haven't got a bed just to be home.
That Dr. Edge. Well, this is Scroop Station here. We've a man who's just come off the last train. A very old man who doesn't seem to know where he is or what he's doing. Well, he might have lost his memory or might be ill or something. Well, Doctor, he says he's got a couple of cases of pictures and drawings worth a lot of money and doesn't seem to be showing off neither. Yes, Doctor, I've sent across to the Railway Arms to ask if there's a bed for him. I wish you would, Doctor.
I'm glad you have come, Doctor. I'm sure he's poorly. We found his nightclothes and got him to bed. At least Tommy Duck did. That's our old Tottenham. My husband says the old man will have to go at morning.
That will depend upon what I say, Mr. Beeston.
Time!
Time! And I said time. You've had your last calls, I warned you. If you don't tell your friend to stop making that racket at this time of night, I'll ring for the police.
Well, he's going to practice somewhere, isn't he?
Time! Time!
Time.
I'm Dr. Edge, the local GP here, and I was asked to have a look at you.
I thought you were time coming for me. I heard them calling for it.
Would you mind telling me your name?
Well, that's something I do remember. It's Kendall.
Good Lord, yes, of course. Thought I'd seen your face before. You are Simon Kendall. What are you doing here, Mr. Kendall?
Well,
No, don't try to tell me, not just now. Well, let's have a look at you.
Bet money's no object with him, you'll see. And I'll tell you why, Mrs. Beeston. It's proper posh is that old gentleman upstairs. Proper posh he's got you.
What's he doing here, then?
He doesn't know he's here. And I'll tell you another thing.
Not tonight, you won't. Now shut up, Tommy, and get on with your work. You can't do yourself ruddy well think with that flaming instrument.
Oh, is he all right, Doctor?
No, he isn't, Mrs. Beeston. He's very old, of course, and he's exhausted. But that isn't all. I've settled him down for the night. Nothing will be done now. I'll be along in the morning, and I'm sending a nurse along.
Here. I'm not running a nursing home, you know.
You will be from tomorrow morning.
Well, I'm not. If he's that bad, why don't you send him to hospital?
Oh, George.
Now, keep out of this, Hilda. I say if he's that bad, he ought to be in hospital, not here.
There isn't a bed nearer than Burpole. If there's one there, he's not fit to make the journey. Don't be so sour about it, man. If all you want to do is to sell drink, very soon you'll be lading it up with a bucket.
Who to? The nurse?
Oh, don't mind him, Doctor. He'll do what's right.
Well, I must warn you, Mrs. Beeston. By this time tomorrow, you will be in all the news. That's what I meant by selling drink. That man upstairs is Simon Kendall, most famous English painter of this century. Great man.
I knew it, didn't I say so? He's
Quiet,
proper posh.
Tommy. Is there anything we can do, Doctor?
No, nothing unless he disturbs you. In that case, give me a call. I don't think he will, and I'll be along in the morning. Good night. Good night.
I'll see you to the door.
I'll go upstairs and listen if he's asleep. But he took a fancy to me, he did. He said so. Well, Tommy, he said, I told him my name and he...
And I'll tell you a few more names if you stand there nettering. Now finish clearing up, sharp.
Fancy. A famous man. And us in papers and on wireless.
Well, I'll just as soon not be. What's going to happen? How long's he going to be here?
Yes, he is poorly, poor man. I was forgetting.
You're always forgetting.
You've no right to say that, George. Sometimes I think you're against everything. Anything that happens is always wrong, and it's always somebody else's fault. No wonder our stand left open.
Now don't start that again. If we're not good enough for him...
It's not that, and you know it's not
then
that.
let him damn well keep away.
Burpole post here. What, at Scroop? Simon Kendall. Railway Arms, I see. Well, we'll have a man over there in the morning. I'll put it on the wire. Might be a big story.
Sorry, the line's engaged. Will you hold?
Simon Kendall? Where? Scroop. Where's Scroop, Jack? Kendall's too ill to be moved, so you'll have to get up there. Take your car.
Okay. I'll
his memory, has he? All right, where do you want me to go? Railway arms. Screw.
That there will be a meeting of the Commonwealth Foreign Ministers to discuss the plan. No further news has been received of the 4 climbers missing in the Italian Alps since Thursday. A Foreign Office spokesman has made a statement about the Middle
Your
East.
breakfast's ready.
In Algeria, French forces have killed and captured a large band of rebels. All workers in aircraft factories are to have an increase in pay.
Yes, look at
Simon
this
Kendall,
lot.
the famous artist, has been discovered in a small Immerse group, seriously ill.
That's him.
In his
Yeah,
speech
but
at
you told
Manchester
him it was
last
a
night,
small inn.
the Prime Minister gave details of new plans for the development of large agricultural areas in Lancashire and Yorkshire. The world's 100 million...
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
I'm Nurse Pitton. Where's the patient?
Oh, never mind. I'm glad you've come. I didn't know what to give him for his breakfast.
Leave that to me.
Yes. This way, please.
Burpool Post. How's Mr. Kendall? Any chance of a word with him?
You just stand out on a bit, lad. Oh, you'd first, but it'll get you nowhere. I'll bet there's dozens coming.
Good morning. And how are we feeling this morning?
Well, I don't know how you're feeling, but I feel as if I've been taken to pieces and put together again with bits of rusty wire.
Now, we mustn't feel sorry for ourselves.
Nonsense. Nothing left to enjoy but to be sorry for myself.
What about a nice cup of tea and a bit of toast before I tidy you up for the doctor?
Ah, we go out as we came in. Slop, slush, and tidying up. What a pretty baby, what a clean old man. Off you go, then. Something very important. What?
How are you? You remember me, Tommy?
You're about all I do remember, Tommy. My friend Tommy, come in.
You're in all the papers. Do you want to see him?
No, thanks. Tell me, Tommy, how do you feel about this nurse?
Oh, they scare me, them women, Mr. Kendall.
Me too. So when you find she's not here, you come in as you did just now. Because there may be things you could do for me that she couldn't, or wouldn't, eh? Hey, you're not my age, Tommy, but you're getting on.
I'm a dang sight older than I think I am.
Yes, and we simple, innocent old men, we cunning old men, must stick together, eh? Or they'll do it on us, eh? Now, Tommy, fetch me my wallet from the inside pocket of my coat.
I'll tell you this, Mr. Kendall, there's going to be some trade on with you here. Papers, wireless, and all them telegrams, and chaps from papers coming.
That's why I must have an ally, a friend. Now then, Tommy, I want you to take this money, so that if there is anything I want you to buy for me, you can get it. And if there isn't, then you can keep the money.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kendall, but if it's something big you want doing, I'm no good. I haven't brains for it. Chap you need then is Stan.
Who's Stan?
Stan Beeston, son of Mr. and Mrs. here. He's an engineer by trade and doing right well, but he doesn't live at home. Can't get on with his father. But you can't blame him.
I couldn't get on with my father. My son can't get on with me.
But I bet you're not so sharp-tempered as George Beeston. He used to be at police force and he was too sharp-tempered even for them. But Sam comes to see his mother. She thinks the world of him, and she's rather a nice woman, Mrs. Beeston is.
I'm sure she is, but Stan is the man I want to get hold of if I want something special done, eh? Smart as a whip, eh?
That's him! Smart as a whip!
Well, I must say,
I'll remember what you said about Tuesday, Mr. Kendall.
what does he mean?
I don't know. He doesn't know. He had to say something. He's afraid of you.
Since when?
So am I.
Now, you get on with this. Doctor will be here in a few minutes.
No, we can't. What do you think this is, the Savoy? Is that exchange? This is Railway Arms, Scroop 228. Yes, I suppose you do know the number. Well, I'm taking receiver off. We've had enough for one morning.
Busy already, eh?
Yes, thanks to you.
If that's the way your mind works, why keep a pub man? Get a job as a night watchman. Then you won't have to meet people.
Suits me. Most of them aren't worth meeting, let alone being waited on.
Dr. Ed's nurse has come. She's taking him up some
What do you
wheat.
want? You know we're not open yet.
We're the press. What did the doctor say?
Told me to get myself a job as night watchman. And I would if I'd double the money.
What's it feel like to have a famous man ill in your pub?
It feels just like being asked dumb, silly questions. Tommy, come on. Stella.
We made breakfast at 6. We're going to be lucky if we get any lunch here. What a life. Hello, phone's off.
Yes? Yes, it is. No, but I can take a message. Sir Geoffrey Brock, the physician. What, is on his way here? You better tell him to bring his bed and breakfast with him. You get that chap, Sir Geoffrey Brock.
He's one of those Buckingham Palace doctors. This is going to be a story.
How is he? Look, you tell us. We're only the press. How is he?
All right, nurse, take that tray down and see if they've got a cup of tea for you downstairs. I'll have a word with you there.
Yes, Doctor.
Well, Mr. Kendall, you all want a second opinion, of course.
Well, I haven't asked for a first opinion yet.
Well, I'm just the average overworked GP.
I think I owe you something, Doctor, for what you did for me last night. So if it makes you feel any better, tell me all that's wrong with me. But if you'd rather keep it to yourself, then keep it. But I'll tell you this. I think my time is running out like sand out of a glass. Part of me is gone already. Not into another world, but back into this one. Many years ago. One moment I'm here, and the next I'm staring at a line of poplars, or into a dark pool thick with water lilies, that I last saw long before you were born. Tell me, why does the distant past come so close when you're old?
I don't know.
Spoken like a man. What's wrong with me?
One lung's in flame, your heart's tired, you're nervously exhausted.
It's like telling a poor man that he hasn't much money.
That's about it, Mr. Kendall. You haven't much energy to draw on, and you mustn't overspend it. No excitement, no emotional scenes. Perhaps I ought to have kept quiet about you being here last night. I didn't like to take the responsibility, and your family would want to know.
My wife died years ago. But my son and my daughter and his daughter and her son, they'll be on their way, I dare say.
I must warn them. No scenes, no excitement.
You can try. But my son is a very successful stuffed shirt, and he'll only be warned by a medical stuffed shirt.
There'll be one. I offer to bet my wife 3-1 it'll be Geoffrey Brock.
And my daughter, Marnie, poor girl, has run into all sorts of trouble. And now she's scatterbrained and drinks too much. And my standards for drinking are very liberal, so I mean too much. And her son and my granddaughter, oh, well, never mind. But that won't be all. There'll be other visitors. People who don't think of me as a man anymore, but as a property. Something that should have been handed over to the National Trust, so that trippers could walk over me at 2 bob a time. And then I have valuable possessions. And it might be convenient for some of these people if I was found to be balmy.
You're far from it. What were you doing yesterday, Mr. Kendall? Running away from them?
What? Well, that's it, of course. What? Of course I was On the run, I was escaping. Doctor, can you do something for me? Just a little thing. I won't ask you to do a big thing. You're so busy now that everybody's so well looked after and happy. Just a little thing.
Yes?
What is his name? Bob, Ben, Bert, Ted, no, Dan, Stan. That's it. Ask the woman downstairs to tell Stan to come to see me. It's urgent.
I will, but don't overexert yourself.
Ah. Huh. I feel better now that I remember what I was trying to remember. Doctor, would you mind passing me a stick of charcoal from the bottom of my bag there? Well, if you don't do it, I'll only get up for it myself the moment you've gone.
All right, all right.
And I'd like that monstrosity off the wall. I don't know whose property it is, but it oughtn't to be anybody's. Much obliged.
Very well.
Thank you.
I'll look in tonight.
But don't forget the message about Dan.
You said Stan.
Stan.
I won't. What do you want for lunch?
Oh, pâté maison, some sole bonne femme, entrecôte and a little green salad, perhaps half a bottle of Riesling with the sole and a bottle of Chambertin with the entrecôte.
Right. Don't be surprised if it looks like a soft-boiled egg and a cup of wheat tea.
Can't tidy you up and make you comfy if you aren't going to like that.
I don't want to be tidied up and made comfy.
And what will Mrs. Beeston say when she sees you spoiled her nice calendar?
Oh.
Give me editorial. No exchange. I'm talking to the Lady Wild in London. Leave us alone. Oh, editorial. Get me some, Philip. Give me editorial. No exchange. I'm talking to the Daily Wire in London. Leave us alone. Oh, editorial. Get me Sam Phillips. Oh, Sam, Penelope here. Talking from the pub at Scroop. Oh, murder's the word for it. Why did you do this to me, you stinker? No, there's nothing to report yet, but the family's expected tonight. They've booked rooms. The only ones there are. And Sir Geoffrey Brock's on his way, so the poor old boy must have nearly had it. Oh, I'll get a story out of somebody for you tonight, but don't ask me to stay on it. Well, have a heart, National Gallery and all that. Yes, it might be big. Okay, but I'm charging you with a car to Burpool tonight and back in the morning. No sharing cabs at night with the boys. Same to you, Sammy.
Only two. You'll have to share.
Share? You're mad.
But there are two beds in each room.
Oh, well, in that case, Amanda, you better share with Felicity, and Kenneth and I will share the other one. Have you any room we can use as a sitting room?
Only a back room marked private, but I'll show you that when you've seen your bedrooms. This way, please.
Thank you,
Oh, you've got my bag, Kenneth. I'll be up in a minute, Felicity, darling. Leave the door open. All right.
Yes, lady?
Have you any vodka?
No, we're right out of that.
Oh, well, a large gin, please.
What with?
A glass, that's all.
Oh.
How's my father?
I'm from the Burpool Post. Let's see, you're Mrs.
Bickley.
And you've just arrived from London. All right, this is on me.
Oh, thanks. I need this.
Oh, Mrs. Bickley, I don't suppose you remember me, but we have met. Penelope Bain of The Wire. Tell me, were you sent for or what?
I've been worried about my father for some time. Then yesterday he disappeared, poor sweet.
Same again, please.
Just disappeared.
Couldn't imagine what had happened to him. I spent half the day making inquiries. Oh, by the way, my minister asked me to give you his good wishes, and he said that if there's anything that he or even the PM can do.
Yes, my boy, there is something the government can do. They can leave me alone and stop asking me for money.
Sir Geoffrey Brock was on our train this afternoon. He'll be seeing you soon. He's gone to pick up the local doctor, what's his name, Edge. You'll be safe in Brock's hands. Very sound, dependable man.
I don't like sound, dependable men.
Nonsense, Father. The country couldn't get along without them.
They ought to have a damn good try before they ruin us or bore us to death. Got a nice room, Edmund.
Oh, it's even worse than this one. Having to share it with young Kenneth, who at close quarters is even more disgusting than I imagined.
Now you see what's happened. I don't think you ought to stay much longer, sir. You're exciting him.
You've just had something you've never been told before, Edmund. Now stop exciting me.
Nurse, the doctor's on the telephone.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Beeston.
Now, Father, this is very serious. We know that you had 2 cases of pictures and drawings and that you took them with you. Are they in a safe place? And where are they?
I don't know, my boy. I don't know what happened on the train yesterday. I know they're not here.
But this is terrible.
Yes, it is a nuisance, isn't it?
A nuisance?
Now stop exciting me again, Edmund.
Father, just a moment. SOS.
Is that Felicity?
Yes, Grandpa. See you in a moment.
What is it?
Aunt Hermione's down there in the bar, full of gin and surrounded by reporters. Lord knows what she's
Oh, I better go and put a stop to that at once.
Ah, there you are, my dear.
Hello, Grandpa, darling. How are you really?
I don't know, my dear. I'm too old.
You're not just putting me off?
No, no, no. At your age, you either feel ill or you feel well. But at my age, you don't know how you are or how you really feel. Tell me, what about that fellow with no back to his head? Are you still in love with him?
You mean Anthony? I'm not. Oh.
Good. Don't bring anybody into this family with no backs to their head.
All right, darling, I promise. Mind you, we already have some stinkers. Cousin Kenneth, for one. Oh, he's here, by the way, if you want to talk to him. So's Aunt Hermione. Screaming tight already.
Oh.
I've just sent Daddy down to rescue her from the reporters.
Oh, they're here, are they?
Yes, you can't move for them downstairs. I must say, Grandpa, darling, you didn't pick much of a place, did you?
I didn't do any picking, my dear. They say I must have got in the wrong part of the train.
Any part of a train which arrives here must be wrong. But where were you going? Have you really lost your memory?
Oh, it sort of comes and goes.
Grandpa, I think you're mean.
Mean? Why?
Well, you know very well, unless you're forgetting everything, that we've always been allies, we've shared secrets. Now you're behaving as though we weren't, as though I were mixed up with Father and his lot instead of being entirely on your side.
No, no, it is not that. It's just...
Just what?
Well, do you think you could give some help to a chap called Stan?
Some, not very much. Nothing very matey. As far as I'm concerned, young men called Stan are out among the untouchables.
Yes, and he'll probably feel the same about you, and between you, you'll ruin the country.
Oh, you old monster. All right, I know I mustn't make a fuss, but really, I mean, how will we ruin the country? And who is this Stan? Why should I help him anyway?
I don't care what all this is about, miss, but I can't have you staying here. The doctor will be here in a few moments. We mustn't excite the patient, and I must tidy up.
All right, I'm just going. Good night, Grandpa. Remember, I'm here whenever you want me.
Writer, eh? What kind of a writer?
Oh, nothing heavy and solemn, light, witty stuff.
I'll bet. What have you done so far?
Well, I did half a ballet, part Eskimos, called Operation Igloo, and part of review hasn't been done yet. That's called We Couldn't Care Less.
A dangerous title.
Well, it's a very satirical show. In fact, it's absolutely deadly. Oh, hello, Felicity. This is Penelope Payne of The Wire, my cousin Felicity Kendall.
Did they let you see your grandfather? Yes, but I haven't any news. Besides, the doctors have just arrived, so you'll have to wait. I'm sorry. Is that the room they've given us?
Yeah, I was just going in. Excuse me.
Maybe a nuisance. I dare say I am, but I've just as much right to see Father as you have. Indeed, I've more right. He's fond of me in his way, and he can't bear you. Well, hardly anybody can. I mean sensible people, not politicians and officials and men who go to the Athenaeum. Oh, hello, you two. Isn't that trombone the end? I suppose you've seen Father, Felicity?
Yes, but only for a minute, and then some awful nurse threw me out.
What did he say to you?
He said he didn't know how he was.
Is that all?
Well, he rambled on a bit, but I was just going to find out what it was all about when the nurse barged in.
So I think we shall have to accept the fact that his mind's wandering.
You think everybody's mind's wandering.
Oh, don't be stupid, Amanda.
He's no stupider than you are. What's a neat rhyme for abortion?
Well, what about portion? Is that stupid? You see, Edmund? But Kenneth, dear, don't start writing your dirty songs here. He and his friends do nothing but write dirty songs now. They roar them out on the piano at 2 in the morning.
Look, I'm hungry. When and where do we eat?
I have arranged to have something here after we have seen the doctors and spoken to the press. And, Kenneth, Felicity, I must insist that you leave the press to me. Now, I'm used to dealing with these people. You're not. Remember that, Hermione.
Father isn't pompous. Mother wasn't. What's happened to you, then, Edmund? You were pompous even while you were still at school.
Rubbish.
Kenneth, do you know anything about somebody called Stan?
Yeah, tenor sax, Jumbo Jackson's band.
Oh, no, idiot. Anybody here called Stan?
Oh, Stan, you won't get me into trouble not tonight. Your father won't come in here till after closing time. God, they've run off their feet in there tonight. But if you want to make yourself useful, you can cut me some slices of cold meat. Oh, dear, it's been like a madhouse in this place since that old gentleman came.
He's a great man, Mother. And I mean a great man, not one of his imitations. Hello, Tommy.
Now, Tommy, we're busy, and I'm sure you'll miss me, so don't stop.
Stan, this Mr. Kendall, him upstairs, I think he might want something doing on the quiet. And if he does, I've told him you're the man for the job. He's plenty of money, and he's a very free will.
I don't care about his money, but did he say I could do something for him? And were his relations here, then?
No, it was hours before they come. But if you ask me, that makes no difference. I bet he thinks they're no great shakes, except granddaughter. She's all
Now,
right.
let's get this straight, Tommy. Just tell me exactly what was said, and hurry up.
Well, I says to him, if it's a big job you want doing, I haven't brains for it. Chap you need then, I says, is Stan. And he said, I don't doubt it.
Examination as brief as possible, Mr. Kendall. Only hope you didn't find it too exhausting. Oh, your son, Sir Edmund, is here, I understand. Would you like me to speak to him?
Yes, I would, Sir Geoffrey.
I think it would be wise.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm sure you'll both enjoy your conference.
I'll see you in the morning. Meanwhile, we'll see what we can do to ensure you have a good night's rest. What about a night nurse, Dr. Edge?
I've got one. She's here waiting to take over.
Splendid. Then we'll be getting along. Good night, Mr. Kendall. Nurse?
Kendall. They'll have a whale of a time. Blah, 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 Sir Geoffrey. Blah, blah,
Mr.
blah.
Kendall, this is Nurse Somerset who's taking over. See you in the morning. Good night.
Good night.
Perhaps I oughtn't to say this, Mr. Kendall.
Well, then, say it, my dear.
I regard this as a very great privilege. Ever since I was a child, I've loved your painting.
Thank you, my dear. I believe you.
I'm afraid I'm not very professional yet. Though, of course, I was trained as a nurse originally.
Tell me, what is your name when you're not a nurse?
Mrs. Somerset. Judith, if we're being unprofessional.
Well, Judith, you must forgive me, my time is running out. But tell me, what is it that's written in your face, so that we'll know where we are?
My husband was a doctor in Hong Kong. Our 2 children were with us. He was granted 6 months' leave, and I flew home first to find a furnished house. I found one, but their plane crashed taking off from Karachi. That's why I'm nursing again. Now, Mr. Kendall, is there anything I can get you that you're allowed to have?
No, my dear. I want a new heaven and a new earth.
Perhaps you oughtn't to talk.
Perhaps I oughtn't to breathe. It isn't too easy.
Well, I've tried turning on your other side. Let me help you. That's what I'm here for.
No, my dear, it's not what you're here for. You're here until you tell me you've had enough of it to listen. At 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep and you can't keep awake. And that's the time to begin telling the truth.
There are, of course, various emergency measures, and Dr. Edge has made the necessary plans in case they're needed. But the tired heart may stop beating at any moment, even in his sleep. I shall be seeing him in the morning, of course.
You're not staying here, then?
No, with my old friend Lord Delby, between here and Burpool. He sent a car to meet me, so as it's been waiting some time...
Well, then first, just 2 brief questions, Sir Geoffrey. First, as this place is quite obviously unsuitable, would it be possible for my father to be moved?
Oh, quite out of the question at the moment, Sir Edmund. Don't you agree, Dr. Edge?
I wouldn't take the responsibility.
Oh, very well, we shall have to make the best of it. Hermione, please. The other one is this, and it's most important from every point of view, as you must see. Can we assume that my father is no longer capable of managing his own affairs?
Well, on the whole, from certain irresponsible remarks he's made and some evidence of amnesia, I should say you were perfectly justified in making arrangements to relieve him of any real responsibility. Is that your opinion, Dr. Edge?
Not entirely, no. His memory is still bad, may not improve. But he's more in his right mind than most people I attend.
I don't agree at all.
Yes, well, I think we shall have to give these press people some sort of statement,
Yes.
Sir Geoffrey.
Don't mind me, I'm only the doctor in charge of the case.
Dr. Edge, go and listen to what they're saying and try to correct them if they're wrong. Please, for my grandfather's sake.
Leave it to me, Mr. Kendall. I'll speak to her tonight.
More zombies are coming tomorrow.
Who?
Well, official art gallery zombies, legal zombies, picture dealer zombies. Telegrams by the dozen have been coming and going.
Oh, I feel terrible. I'll ask for some brandy in a minute. Felicity, dear, why did you talk to Dr. Edge like that, as if he were suspicious?
Because I am.
Dead right. Watch the zombies.
You'll have to sort this lot out for yourselves. I'm too busy.
Oh, of course, but can't anything be done about that dreadful noise?
That's young Fred, practicing next door.
Oh, dear. Well, could you bring me a large brandy?
Oh, I dare say. Hey, miss, Stan wants you.
Oh, Stan wants me, does he? Well, Stan will have to come and find me, won't he?
He can't do that, miss. There's wheels within wheels here. He's in pantry back at kitchen, so you'd best look sharp. Stan won't wait long.
Well, of all the damn cheek.
What's all that about, darling?
Lord knows, or Stan.
Oh, well, you bring me the brandy, darling.
You know, I don't think she will bring it. She's turned into a square and bossy at that. Oh, come on. Effie.
Sit here, Stan.
I'm Felicity Kendall. Did you send that ridiculous message?
Not if it's ridiculous, I didn't. I'm Stan Beeston.
Do you usually send messages saying Stan wants you?
Yes, do it all day long in the works.
Well, this isn't the works, and I don't even know you.
You know me now, don't you?
I only came to tell you what I thought of your infernal cheek.
Well, never mind, so long as you're here. Now listen, Miss Kendall. If there's anything I can do for your grandfather, and I understand there might be, I'll be glad and proud to do it. Anything.
Why? Because you've just read about him in the newspapers?
No. And not because I'm fascinated by his nice, polite granddaughter, neither. I'm an engineer by trade. Over the last 2 years I've been going to an art class at night. I like painting. And Simon Kendall's a great painter, a marvel. He's done a lot for me. I'd like to do something for him. And I see I'll do it better without your help. Sorry I've been troubled. Good night.
Oh, don't be so touchy. I was stupid and I'm sorry. Anyway, my grandfather said something about helping you. For God's sake, give me a sandwich. My trouble is I'm dying of hunger. What did you want to say to me anyway?
Just this. I can take 2 or 3 days off there, putting in your machine into my shop. I have a motorbike and I'm ready to go anywhere. I can't hang about here during the day, not when Father's about. There's a telephone where I'm lodging, and this is the address and the number. So as soon as you know what's wanted, give me a ring.
It might be something I can do better than you can.
All right, we're not having a competition. But if there's anything I can do, I'm ready to do it. Have you any idea what it is?
Well, it might have something to do with 2 large cases of paintings and drawings. Nobody seems to know where they are. I know my father's very worried about them. He thinks Grandfather should let him take charge of things now, just because Grandfather forgets things. He's so old.
You're fond of him?
I adore him. Always have. Not because he's famous. I wouldn't care if no one had ever heard of him. In fact, I used to hate the famous part. Just because he's a wonderful and adorable person. This pub is full of people just waiting, wondering when he's going to die, not caring about him. Oh, damn, I'm going to cry. Go on then. Be rude and bossy again.
Well, snivelling won't help him.
I'm not snivelling.
The minute you think you know something tomorrow, give me a ring. And don't think you can do it yourself, because it's 10 to 1 you can't.
How do you know?
Well, he thought so himself, didn't he? The trouble is you're jealous.
Oh, shut up!
Who is this Stan, this common chap?
For once, you're quite right.
You haven't finished your sandwich. My sandwich.
Good night!
Cut me off. Hello? Examiner? Yeah, I was cut off, yes. Sir Geoffrey Brock, now it's Scroop. S-C-R-O-O-P, huh? Attending Simon Kendall. Don't forget 2 L's. All right, dear?
As from next month. Mr. Simon Kendall, the artist, cannot be moved from the inn at Scroop, where he's lying seriously ill. Here is a photograph of the inn. The people arriving are his son and daughter. Mr. Kendall is 82. And that is the end of the news.
A small town about 20 miles from Burpool. Sir Geoffrey said that Mr. Kendall's condition is grave but not critical. His son and daughter and 2 grandchildren are now staying at the Railway Arms, Scroop. The Parliamentary Secretary to the Ministry of Supply.
I was dreaming I was a boy again. Now the tricks that old Reuben and I used to be up to in the quarry. My father was a stonemason, you know. My family and their children are apt to forget that. We're as snobbish as ever we were. That old Reuben. You've heard of him, Reuben Holmes, the landscape painter, finest landscape watercolourist we've had since Cotman. Lives in a little cottage at Longston Bridge. Never earned more than a few pounds a week. Never wanted to. A simple, happy man. And I have outlived 3 wives. I've earned and spent fortunes. I've had mistresses of every colour under the sun. I have had trunkfuls of awards, medals and honorary degrees. But I've never... Oh, I'm a hell of a big pot, I am. I have never had half the satisfaction out of life that old Reuben has had. Was I've been a mad monkey, he's been a happy man. He must be the oldest friend I've got. Nurse?
Yes, Mr. Kent.
Have you got something to write on there?
Yes.
Well, write this down. 2 cases of pictures and drawings labelled to Reuben Holmes of Longston Bridge. It was to him I was going. Oh, what a silly old thing I am. I was going to stay a day or 2 with him and tell him what I wanted done with him. And I went Went to the wrong part of the train. That's simple. You've got that down all right, Nurse?
Yes.
Well, put it on here, my dear.
Mr. Kendall, do you never read the newspapers?
Oh, haven't done for years, mostly dribble. Oh, let's forget about the newspapers.
Yes, but a short time ago, they printed something about Reuben Holmes, the watercolour painter of Longston Bridge.
Oh, that's not like Reuben.
Mr. Kendall, they announced his death.
We should either settle down with a book or go for a walk.
I can't find a book worth reading, and how can I go for a walk? There's nowhere to go, and it's pouring with rain. Hermione and Kenneth had the right idea, hogging it in bed until lunchtime. All right, I'll leave you in peace. Hello.
Morning, miss. Hey, how did you get on with Stan last night?
Oh, I didn't.
Smart as a whip, Stan is.
I don't like whips. Aren't you sorry the reporters have been told to keep away until later?
No, more bother than they were worth.
May I ask you a personal question?
Well, I can't stop here, but I just as soon you didn't. As you can see, I'm busy. Well?
Well, why have you quarrelled with your son?
Well, that's my business. But if he must know, because he was getting too big for his boots.
Oh, yes, I can imagine that. I mean, I know what young men are.
Well, what the hangman is this? Stop banging that door!
I must see him at once.
Here, hold on, mister.
Leo,
If you want a room, we're full up. If you want a drink, you're too early.
But it is me, Leo.
Leo Morgenstern, Mr. Beeston, my grandfather's dealer, sells his pictures.
Well, he won't sell any here.
Simon, how is he?
The doctors are upstairs with him now.
I must see him as soon as I can. I feel terrible. I was at Cape Ferrat trying to buy some Picassos when I heard the news. I've been traveling here ever since. Ach, du lieber Himmel, what a place. What savages. Even this landlord, he behaves like a bad-tempered policeman.
He used to be a bad-tempered policeman. Oh, here are the doctors now.
How is he now? Tell me at once.
Yes, sir, I'm just about to make my report, sir.
Yes, but tell me. I'm Leo Morgenstern. I've come at full speed 1,000 miles. Simon is my client, my friend. We have worked together for years.
Possibly, but you must speak to Sir Edmund. Excuse me.
Virgin. Ach, du lieber Himmel, a great artist, helpless among such people. It is like dying in Greenland. Felicity, my dear, I must see him at once. Not business that can wait. More important. Please, take me to him.
All right, Leo. I'll try.
Thank you.
Oh, don't be idiotic, woman. How can I lie still and be quiet when I know there's so much to do, and perhaps such little time to do it? Have you no imagination?
No, but I have my orders.
Oh, no.
Is that comfy?
Yes.
Let's tuck you in that side. Oh, now what's this? Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, yes, he does. He wants to see me, and I want to see him. Leave us, Nurse. Come in, Leo.
Oh, very well, but only for a few minutes.
I came at once. 1,000 miles. I threw away a beautiful deal on 8 important Picassos to see you, and to make a terrible confession to you, Simon, my friend. If I do not make this confession now,
I will never be at peace with myself again.
As bad as that, Leo? Well, then, confess.
You remember the 6 Ariadne drugs I told you were lost during the war? Well, it was not true. They arrived safely in New York. I sold them to that collector in Philadelphia. You trusted me. You were always so trusting, so generous, and I cheated you. Oh, I had an excuse. I was desperate for the money to remain in New York. It was the only way. But I behaved like a dirty swindler and thief, Simon. Can you forgive me?
I forgave you long ago, Leo.
You knew?
I knew, yes. Now let's forget about it. This is more important. You know, there's a lot of work I'm leaving behind.
Of course. Oh, where is it, Simon? What do you propose to do with it when you return to London?
Oh, I don't think I should be returning to London, Leo. Now, I'm still trusting you, because I believe you would like to make amends.
Yes, Simon, anything.
Yeah, there is little you can do at the moment, but afterwards, when someone inherits that work...
Simon, who will inherit the work?
I am not sure yet, Leo, but whoever it is, they must be able to depend upon you.
I swear my mother's grave. It shall be
you've
so.
had quite long enough.
I hope to be here about 6 o'clock.
Well, Henry March, our solicitor, and I hope Sir Marcus Connor should be here by then. Connor's now controller of all our official galleries, you know. I think, Sir Geoffrey, you should have a word with them about my father's state of mind, responsibility, and so on.
Of course, a very sound idea. I don't think we need trouble, Dr. H. He's been very uncooperative at the moment.
Quite.
How's my father this morning?
Not in any immediate danger, certainly no better. Sir Edmund has had my report.
He's my father too, you know.
Sir Geoffrey cannot talk to you if you are not here, Hermione. We'll meet then again about 6, excuse me.
See how I'm treated? All right, I'm unreliable. I drink too much. I talk to reporters. But it's my father who's up there. And though we may have had rows, I was always a damn sight closer to him than Edmund ever was. And you realise I haven't spoken a word to him yet? I've tried twice, but that awful nurse terrifies me. Those women always did.
Well, I'm going to speak to him soon, nurse or no nurse. He ought to be warned about these official types closing in on him.
You mean Kenneth Zombies? Isn't he naughty? But very amusing, don't you think, dear?
Not very, no. I think I prefer you, Aunt Hermione. Why are you so unreliable and drink so much? I've often wondered.
So have I, darling. Oh, I was quite different when I was your age, of course. With all kinds of brilliant men, father's friends, admiring me and making a lovely fuss. Then I went and married Cyril Bickley. Lord knows why. Father warned me. Then, when that was no good, I tried this one and that one. Furtive weekends and horrid, messy afternoons. Oh, avoid all that, my dear. Whatever you do, it just isn't worth it. And then, gradually, it didn't seem so bad. I mean, everything. One's whole life after a few drinks. And then, before you can turn round, your poor Hermione mustn't be left with a decanter. Isn't it awful? Oh, dear. Here we are laughing. Nothing really to laugh at. Poor father upstairs in pain. Perhaps going to die. Soon as I've had one quick drink, I'm going to insist on seeing him. Leo! When did you get here? Have you seen father?
Hermione, Felicity, my dears. What a man that is. I tell you, they're all the same, the really great ones. Big in brain, in heart, in spirits. When they're all gone, the world will be an anthill.
They'll never be all gone. Some are going to school. One was born this morning.
Too late for my gallery. Now I'm going to Purple to see a collector I know there.
We're going to have a drink first, aren't we, Leo, darling?
Yes, Hermione.
Father, you must remember something. You had those cases carefully packed. You must have been taking them somewhere. I mean, you got on a train.
Yes, my boy, and landed here. What is it, Scroop? Now, I ask you, who would ever leave London to take to his bed in Scroop? Is that reasonable?
No, it isn't. But of course you meant to go somewhere else, and those cases must have gone somewhere else. The point is where.
Yes, that is the point, isn't it? The trouble is, my boy, I'm very forgetful, nurse. I think I'll try the other side.
What's his father? 2 cases of pictures and drawings labelled to Reuben Holmes, Longstone Bridge. Well, this may be what we're looking for. This note isn't in your handwriting.
Give it to me.
Somebody must have given it to you to remind you what happened to those cases. Well, Father, you'd probably like to rest now.
I really think you ought to, sir.
Yes, I'm very sorry, nurse. It's my fault. I'll see you later, Father.
Yes. Help me over.
Isn't this side more comfortable?
Oh, it's damnably uncomfortable. I only wanted to get rid of him. Now I want to see my granddaughter.
I don't really think I ought to allow
Nonsense,
it.
woman. If I can endure my son's idiotic conversation for half an hour, surely I can see my granddaughter for a few minutes. Now, send her up. You stay downstairs, drink a cup of tea, play darts, anything. Ah, there you are, my dear. What is your father doing?
Telephoning like mad.
Well, he read that note. Now, you read it.
2 cases of pictures and drawings labelled to Reuben Holmes, Longstone Bridge.
Reuben Holmes is dead. I want you to find those cases, Felicity. You and, what's his name?
Stan?
Stan, that's it, though. He'll be working.
No, he's not. He's waiting for me to telephone
Well,
him.
do it at once, my dear. You have met him, haven't you?
Yes, I can't stand him. He's conceited, cocky, and common. Still, I'll do it at once for your sake, Grandpa, darling. Oh, would it be terribly boring and tiring for you to have a word to Stan Beeston? Stan Beeston's father, Mr. Beeston. They've quarrelled, you see. Mr. Beeston has an appalling temper. He's rude to everybody. It makes it very difficult for Mrs. Beeston and Stan.
Well, ask him to come up to see me.
He might be a bit surly and sour.
We'll risk it, shall we?
All this coming and going isn't good for us, you know.
It's good for me. He makes me forget I'm ill.
But you are ill. I don't think Sir Geoffrey would like the look of you.
Well, I don't like the look of him. Now off you go and play some more darts.
More darts? How can you imagine that I...
Oh, you're Mr. Beeston, eh? Come in. Leave us, nurse. This is private. Sit down, Mr. Beeston. Sit down.
I can't stay. I've a lot to do.
I know you've a lot to do, Mr. Beeston, and you've had a difficult time the last 2 days. It's my fault, nobody else's. I seem to have suddenly become an old man who doesn't know what he's doing. Since they say I'm famous, it's started a fuss. Oh, I apologize, Mr. Beeston. You've been very patient, very kind.
No, I haven't. I've been worse than usual, Mr. Kendall. Giving everybody the rough edge of my tongue. The wife especially.
What's wrong?
I wish to God I knew Mr. Kendall, sir. I've a good wife. A good son. Though he'd never guess I thought so. And trade here isn't bad. Nobody's ever done me any harm. But I've got a sort of hard lump of anger in me, Mr. Kendall. Always have had. It got me into trouble in the police. I thought it'd be different when I left and took this place. But I'm just the same. And I know it. And that makes it worse. I lose patience with myself. And then I've none for other folk.
I was like that once years ago. I did something wrong, and instead of putting it right and forgiving myself, I was hard with myself and hard with everybody else. My friend, I don't know what you did. I don't want to know. But whatever it was, forgive yourself. Wipe the slate clean. You've got to live with George Beeston, the same as I've had to live with Simon Kendall all these years. So don't press too hard on him. You know, some people are too sorry for themselves, and other people, and you're one of them, are not sorry enough. So say, poor old George, and then good old George, eh?
I'll try it. Is there anything I can do for you?
Just this, I'm rather helpless lying here, and I need some help. It's to do with my work and how to settle my family. And your son, Stan, might be able to give me that help. And if he finds himself unwelcome here, it'll make it difficult for him, for his mother and for me. Now you're hardening that lump again, can't you feel it?
Aye. It'll be all right, Mr. Kendall.
I grabbed this
nice when that damn nurse wasn't looking. I don't know whether you want it, but it was intended for you. How are you really, Father, darling? I can't get any sense out of Edmund and that stuffy Sir Geoffrey. They talk as if you were half dotty or something. You're not, are you?
Edmund and I have been thinking each other half dotty for the last 35 years. The trouble is we live in different spheres of life, and his sphere is winning just now.
Well, I'm no use to you, let's face it. I don't seem to be any use to anybody. Not even to Kenneth now. Oh, it was lovely when he was little. But now he and his friends behave as if they'd come from other planets.
He's here, isn't he?
Yes, writing dirty songs on the backs of envelopes.
Supposing I send him up to London to do something for me, do you think he could do it sensibly, quietly?
I suppose I ought to say yes, of course, but I've always been honest with you, Father, darling, and all I can say is I honestly don't know.
Leo Marginston's gone, hasn't he?
Yes, to see a collector he knows up here. We had a drink first and he did nothing but rave about him. Not that he isn't quite right, of course, but why is it these tough business types are always so sentimental?
Oh, they let their hearts out to play when they're off duty.
Father, you're tired. I hate to bother you, but what can Kenneth do?
He can find out the next train to London and come to see me before it goes.
So you took it? Coming here, talking and tiring him out? What do you think you're doing, singing a lullaby? If you want anything, Mr. Kendall, I shall be just outside the door.
I'm sorry, Dad, but I had to come. Mr. Kendall wants me to...
I know that. And we'll let bygones be bygones. Miss Kendall's waiting for you in the back kitchen.
I tried to speak to him, but that nurse is keeping everybody out.
Well, unless you want to waste more time, you'll have to take orders from me, won't you? I suppose I can ride on the back of your motorbike?
You can, but you'll be like a drowned rat in 10 minutes.
Well, I could get some leggings and things, couldn't I? I mean, you know what girls wear on the back of motorbikes. I don't.
Oh, just cheap, common, nasty plastic things. You know what these people are like. Here, wear these.
I don't, but I'm learning. Come on.
I'm not starting till we know what we're doing and why we're doing it. And that's reasonable.
Yes, it must be your manner that makes it so insufferable.
Look, Miss Kendall, let's just agree you can't stand me and I don't like you and leave it at that. We're doing something for Simon Kendall. Now, what is it?
He had all his best unsold work packed into 2 big cases labelled to Reuben Holmes, Longston Bridge. Grandfather was going there. He didn't know that Reuben Holmes had died. He hasn't been very well lately. He forgets things.
So he took a seat in the wrong part of the train and his cases went on without him. And what's all the fuss about? Simply lost his luggage. It's always happening.
Except that the luggage isn't usually worth £150,000.
Well, that's a point, certainly.
That's not the main point, which you don't know, because you don't know what you're talking about anyway. Oh, come on, he mustn't see us.
Have you seen my daughter?
No.
I suppose your father wouldn't want you to get wet.
Possibly. What he really doesn't want is for us to get those 2 cases for Grandfather.
Oh.
Yes, oh-ho. My father and his friends have been saying for some time that Grandfather isn't capable of looking after his own work, of deciding what ought to be done with it. So we've got to get those cases before they do. Father's telephoning now. Some of his friends are on their way over here. Now do you see what all the fuss is about?
You win. Let's go. Unless you fall off, I'll have you at Longstone Bridge Station in an hour.
Is that you, Felicity? What on earth do you think you're doing? I understand you say that that was your son on that motorbicycle, and if so, will you be good enough to tell me why he's taken my daughter off like that?
Can't say, but don't worry. Stan's a careful driver.
Oh, it's absolutely preposterous. Really, at a time like this. Can't you find something better to do, Kenneth, than flopping about there?
Yes, but Grandfather wants to see me.
Ah, nonsense. Who told you? Oh, your mother, I suppose.
Very well. Just for a few minutes.
Ah, well, perhaps I'd better come too.
Oh, no, you haven't. Just one. Him.
It's nonsense about Father wanting to see Kenneth.
It's his idea, not mine, and why not?
Mine must be going. Kenneth.
You've more money than I have, Edmund, but I'll buy you a couple of drinks if only you'll stop thinking you're running a blasted government department.
You see, my boy, I'm like my old friend Sickert. Can't resist having an extra studio too, eh? here it is. The key to number 7 York Garden Mews. There's a tag on it anyhow. Now, what do you do, boy?
I take a cab there, remove every canvas drawing notebook, store in my room, and say nothing to anybody.
Now, that's going to be the hard part, keeping your mouth shut. Can you do it?
On my head, I'm a strongly introverted type anyhow, Grandfather. I'm also broke.
I thought so. Yeah. 4 fivers. That'll pay your expenses and leave you enough to give a girl a damn good dinner.
I don't like girls who want damn good dinners. We're all snack bar types.
Ah, you're savages, beating drums in concrete jungles. But be a good savage, Kenneth, my boy. I'm trusting you.
I'd let a lot of people down at the drop of a hat. But not you, Grandfather. You think I'm some use, so I will be. You'll see.
2 big cases, of course I remember them, came up on the 8:50 the night before last.
They're here then?
Oh no, my mate put them on the 7:25 yesterday morning. If they haven't gone back to London or on to Liverpool, they might be at Crangley Junction.
You could ring them.
You get no satisfaction. Better go yourselves. Only 30 miles.
Oh, look, I'm hungry.
You try the White Lion.
Wash me eating peas with my knife.
Oh, shut up.
Well, there was a bit of a mix-up about them 2 cases. We sent them off to Burple Central, and they said they were sending them back. But we haven't seen them again yet.
Well, where do you think they are then?
Well, they're not here, and you say they aren't at Longston Bridge. So if Burple Central didn't send them off to London, well, they might have done by mistake. Well, then they've landed somewhere between here and Burple Central, that's what.
Oh, murder! We try every single station.
Look, why don't you pack it up and let me carry on?
I wouldn't dream of it. Not if I fall off that beastly bike of yours. Come on.
Thanks anyway.
Doctor, he's worse, isn't he? Good night, Doctor.
Good night, Nurse. He's in no great pain and we're doing everything possible. I'm going to arrange for an oxygen tin, just in case it should be necessary. Excuse me.
Father's much worse, Edmund. I knew it.
I haven't had Sir Geoffrey's report yet. Henry March and Sir Marcus Connor in there. We're waiting for Sir Geoffrey now. And we have some very important decisions to make.
Oh, don't tell me you're holding a conference.
You know how you'd hate it. For heaven's sake, don't drink too much. We may have all these press people back again. And do be careful.
Careful where? Doing what? Kenneth's gone, Felicity isn't back. You don't want me in there. I can't drink. I mustn't see Father. So where do I go? What do I do?
Ah, this is where I'm wanted, I think. Pouring weather we're having, isn't it?
Tommy. Large drink gin, please.
Right, Bill. What did the posh doctor say?
He said we're having appalling weather.
Well, what are the big bugs doing along there?
Having a conference while we're just having the weather.
Then, Sir Geoffrey, we created the Kendall Trust to take over this extremely valuable collection of pictures and drawings, some of it work done 30 or 40 years ago, that my father refused to sell. Yes, Henry?
I'd better explain that the governors of the trust, Sir Edmund representing the family, Sir Marcus representing the public galleries, and myself as legal and financial advisor, would have full powers to sell or donate all the work owned by the trust.
My own interest, of course, was in securing certain works I already knew for the nation. And Simon King had always been difficult and cooperative.
Well, the point being that as his mind began to fail, he adopted a hostile, quite absurd attitude towards the state or anything official. And that complicated his relations with me.
I won't deny I have found him easy as a patient. Well, gentlemen, I fully understand this agreement we are talking about. But so far I cannot persuade Dr. Edge to agree with me that the patient is no longer capable of managing his own affairs. On the other hand, his age and his physical condition encourages eccentric behavior.
What do you suggest then, Sir Geoffrey?
Well, I have given him an injection, and that should given him quietness, keep him mentally alert for some hours.
Well, now look, we have a document here.
Yes, yes.
We could take into him.
Oh, certainly, certainly. Then say what you have to say, and say it frankly, quietly, and firmly.
Right, indeed.
Now, Judith, you did tell them downstairs that I want to see my granddaughter and stand the moment they arrive.
Yes, Mr. Kendall, and they understand.
I think I've asked you that before, haven't I?
Well, yes.
You must forgive me, I'm an old nuisance, but it can be very important in all sorts of ways. God is love. Always thought that a mistake.
What, that God is love?
Yes, and it's God. We tell him he created everything. Millions of galaxies, each containing millions of suns, and at the same time he's love. And so the whole universe is love laid on. There's so much of it. It's cheap. And so people don't have to create anymore. If we put up notices to say that God is power but wants to be love, then perhaps we begin to behaving better.
I think I've always felt that.
I'm sure you have. Good women feel by instinct that love is a creative act, just as men feel that they must create art of some sort. There are all sorts of art, but women without love, men without art, people just creating nothing. They're freaks, monsters, bent only on destroying themselves, eggs that can't hatch, just blow up.
You sound very lively.
Oh, when I can't paint, I preach, and this poor girl has to take the consequences.
Then perhaps you won't mind seeing some visitors for a few moments. Come in, gentlemen.
Sir Geoffrey, Sir Marcus, Sir Edmund, and the law itself in the person of Mr. March. It's too much all at once for a feeble old painter and an anxious night nurse. Don't you think so, Judith? These aren't just people, poor, bewildered brain, flesh and blood like us. They're institutions, departments, establishments, the world we're allowed to live in.
Yes, and without them, Father, you couldn't live in it.
Well, my boy, I don't think I'm going to live much longer.
I hope you're wrong, but that is all the more reason that you should remember your responsibility.
I am.
Now, we have the deed of the trust here.
This is it, Mr. Campbell.
All you have to do is to put your signature.
Then you may be sure that all the work taken over by the trust will be carefully and safely.
Yes, Margaret, I've heard all that before.
Quite so, Mr. Kendall, but now...
Now there isn't much time left.
No, I didn't say...
But I'm saying it for you, and it's true. There isn't much time. There never is much time, as any artist to tell you. But if you live creatively, with your heart as well as your brain, there's enough.
Enough to settle your affairs properly.
Yes, Edmund, just enough.
I don't think you realize, as I know from experience, what a state of confusion may result.
Perhaps I don't. I'm an old man, but I still belong to me, not to you. Gentlemen, and I include you in this, Edmund, go away.
We may have to take steps.
Well, take them to the door.
Mr. Kendall, do you think you were quite fair to me?
No, perhaps I was unfair to my son. But remember, I've had a lot more of that guff than you have.
Surely they meant well. They were only trying to do their duty.
Oh, the world's full of people who trample over us now just doing their duty. I wish they'd forget doing their duty. They don't mean well, those fellows. Not to me, not to you, not to any of our sort. No, they don't bring anything to life. They just take life out of things. And London is full of them now. Thousands of sound administrators just administrating the soul and the guts out of everything. For weeks now they've been trying to put me on a sound administrative basis. No, not me, my work. For I could have been in a loony bin long ago for all that they cared. I'm not contributing to their world.
Oh, dear, this is my fault. I shouldn't have encouraged you to talk so much.
I like talking. All this nonsense about women talking too much. When I've been with a woman, I've always talked her head off.
It's all right, nurse. I shan't stop a moment. But all them reporters are back asking questions. So what do I tell them?
Oh, tell them anything that comes to your head, Tommy. But tell me, has there been a message from Felicity and your hero Stan?
Not a word.
Well, I want to see them the moment they arrive. Don't forget.
I won't, Mr. Kendall. Your daughter's gone into the little back parlour and there's hell to pay. All them big bugs are losing their tempers. And she's tiddly.
Judith, if my big coat is in there, just hand it over to me, will you? And then, my dear, go downstairs, tell my daughter Hermione I sent you, and take her to her room.
I oughtn't to go and leave you alone. It'll take a long
I'll
time.
feel happier if I know that she's safely out of the way. Thank you, my dear. One for the road. Simon, old boy, one for the road.
Grandpa, you're drinking, you old fraud. I'm sure you oughtn't to.
Nonsense. Tell me, did you find them?
We found your cases.
Ah.
They didn't want to let us have them, but Stan was very fierce. He adores your work, and that made it easier for him.
Even so, they weren't having any. Then she gave them an order from you, which she'd quietly forged. She's an unscrupulous type.
We couldn't bring them with us, but they're safely hidden away. Tell me, have Daddy and his gang been at you? Oh, yes, of course they have. Well, now what you going to do?
I'm going to stop worrying. So, you like my painting, Stan?
Always did. Marvellous. I try and do a bit myself in my spare time.
Yeah. You've had quite a day together, haven't you?
Yes, it seemed like weeks.
Yes, tell me, how do you find him? Still insufferable?
Yes.
And she's the most annoying piece I've ever had anything to do with.
Peace, that's the way the man talks.
I'll say this for her, though. She stuck it out on the back of that bike, and she could still produce a smile at those damn railway stations when I'd had it. I'll give her and her class their due.
Oh, it's too appalling. Mind you, I will say this. It was nice to have him with me. All that energy and determination instead of some of the charmers I've known. All right, I'm saying it for you, darling, with no backs to their heads.
Mr. Kendall, I don't think I can allow this, not in your condition.
Doctor, I think I know more about my condition now than you do. I've just got time to do what I want to do, and then I can rest. Judith, there's a form in my coat pocket. Just get it and hand it to the doctor. You can't stop a man disposing of his possessions at a time like this.
You don't want me here?
Oh, yes, I do. Just keep quiet and listen. Now, doctor, you find that document. It says that the two names in it will come into joint possession of all the paintings and drawings I leave behind. They can do what they like with them, sell them, give them away, or anything.
Yes, it's all here, except the two names.
Well, you're going to put those two names down, and you and Judith are going to witness it. The names are Felicity Kendall and Stan Beeston.
Me? You can't really...
Quiet. I'm talking to the doctor. You see, doctor, my son and my daughter will get some money, but I couldn't decide what to do about this work. Now, I trust these two, Felicity and Stan. They pretend not to like each other, but they've got class on the brain. And this'll knock the nonsense out of them. They'll have to meet every now and then to decide what to do about my pictures. And before we know where they are, they'll be getting married.
Yeah, hold on.
So, doctor, if you and Judith will just witness and sign it, there'll be no more trouble, no more worrying, no more argument.
How about the trust?
It's implemented works of art, such as those painted by your father, will be kept in the country of the property of the people.
Yes, but where will you keep these? That is the point. Now, all right, I'll make a statement. My father, like Turner, with whom he's very often been compared, retained a mass of valuable work. And Sir Marcus Connor and I have devised a special trust to take care of this work.
That's not what your daughter says, Sir Edmund.
What do you mean? My daughter has not been authorized to make any statement.
I don't think anybody ought to be making a statement.
I'm sorry,
But when
we disagree. Oh, so shocking. We can speak prepared for anything. I'm waiting for the oxygen now. But at the moment, there is absolutely nothing wrong with his mental condition.
I'm sorry, I cannot agree.
Very well.
And I must have another opinion.
Yes, I know, but then...
But I mean,
It was the Beeston's calendar, but they won't mind. And now it's Simon Kendall's last drawing, and you can have it.
Thank you. But are you sure you want me to have anything as valuable as this?
Yes, my dear, the last drawing for the last friend I ever made. Now look at it. The girl in that calendar couldn't exist She had no shape, no meaning, but a few strokes, if you know where to put them, begins to give it shape, form, meaning, purpose, and truth. Begins to give it life.
Doctor! Doctor!
Well, we've been very worried about those loans to the tape, and we hope that in time we shall collect them all together into one... Hold it, boys!
Simon Kendall is dead.
Let's get...